Hey everybody, it's Maria from Sacred Heart Tarot, and this is my July tarot chat. So I've got a little bit of news to share with you guys. I've got some books to share with you guys that I've read since the last tarot chat, and I have some decks to show you that I am working with, will be working with this month or the last few weeks. So the little bit of news is that I will be starting a new weekly general tarot reading on my blog. I have been kind of struggling with how I could do a weekly general reading for you guys. First, I thought I would do it on YouTube, but I couldn't really come up with a format that I liked, a format that I felt wasn't really copying off of anybody else, and that was something new. Uh, and so I kind of scrapped the YouTube idea, but I decided I still wanted to do the reading. So I'm going to be putting it on my blog. So by the time you see this video, you can click down on sacredhearttarot.com and you can click the blog link and it will be up there. But that will be my weekly generalized reading for the masses. I really enjoy that reading for the collective type of thing. And I think it'll be fun, and I would love for you guys to check it out. So website is in the description box, and then there's a blog link right on that website. So the second thing we're going to talk about for July are the books I've been reading. I decided to take a little bit of a break from studying Kabbalah and how that associates to tarot, just to give my brain a little bit of time to let it sink in, understand things more, just kind of let it go. And I have been reading some of the books on Marseille Tarot that I have kind of put on the back burner. So the first one I read since the last chat video was the Marseille Tarot, Towards the Art of Reading by Camelia Elias. This was great. I really, at first, really didn't like her, I don't want to say voice. She's very, like, blunt, and the way she reads cards is very blunt. I didn't really like that at first, but by the time I got to the end of the book, I really enjoyed the way that she attributed that bluntness with being truthful and our role as readers, and how it is really our job to tell you the truth regardless of if it's good or if it's bad. And it's not really helpful to anybody if we kind of sugarcoat things that aren't fun. And that was what her reason for reading the way she does was. And I ended up really liking this at the end. There's some really great ways to look at combinations of tarot cards, especially in the Marseille cards with the courts and the major arcana. She reads mostly major arcana. She shows you a little bit of minor arcana in there. But this was great. It was a quick read. And if you're into Marseille Tarot, I definitely recommend picking it up. The second book I read, I had a physical copy of, but I gave it away because I had read it, and I had it on my Kindle. So if I wanted to revisit it, I could. I don't know if this is going to show up on there, but this is Tarot: The Open Reading by Yoav Ben Dov. And I actually purchased his CBD Tarot, which is a reprinting of the Conver Tarot. CBD is for Conver Ben Dov. So it's his recoloring of the Conver Tarot, restoration of the Conver Tarot. And this book was amazing. Ben Dov writes very accessibly. I talked about that, I think, a little bit with the Robert Wang book I read last month, that no matter how interested in a subject you are, or how much of an expert in a subject you are, if you write in a way that other people can't understand, you're not going to get your information out to the masses. But his reading was beautiful, and the style was really wonderful. So I recommend this to anybody that is interested in Marseille Tarot. It's a pretty quick read. I don't know how many pages are in it specifically, but it didn't take me that long. And it really kind of took you through all of the majors, and all of the minors too, and how to put those together and how to read them in a style that's closer, or Camellia Ellis's style is close to this, where you're really just looking at the pictures on the cards, and they are and you're telling a story. Don't mind my phone. Telling a story with those pictures. So both of these guys read kind of the same way, kind of the way Enrique Enriquez reads. If you've ever seen the documentary Tarology, he talks about not memorizing the meanings of the cards specifically, but looking at what you're reading. And I always say it's 50-50, but this is very helpful when reading Marseille, and really kind of pulling out all of the information that the cards have to offer, because you have less pictures to work with. So that was the second one. The third book is The Way of Tarot by Alejandro Jodorowsky. I'm not finished with this yet, but I'm about 3/4 of the way through. This is the second time I've started this book. The first time I couldn't stand it, and I found his writing style kind of hard to get into. But once I got past the first couple of chapters, I really started enjoying this book. I am loving the fact that he is a film director and his movies are like kind of weird and crazy, lends such a beautiful descriptive voice to the cards. And one of my favorite parts of this book is that when he talks about the majors, there's a chapter for every major. When he talks about the major cards, there's a section at the end of the chapter that says, and if this card spoke. And it's several paragraphs in that card's voice, and it really gave a much more personal way to look at each card and what it meant. And so it goes through your traditional meanings. He definitely taught Yoav Ben-Dov how to read the way he taught him. So Yoav Ben-Dov developed his open reading style through the teachings of Jodorowsky. But this is just a must. If you read Marseille Tarot, if you read any tarot, this is a great resource book. So it's called The Way of Tarot, Spiritual Teacher in the Cards. And I definitely recommend it. It took me a couple of tries to really get into it, but I'm enjoying it, and I read it like every night, like right before I go to bed, and any chance I get, actually, just because I love the way he speaks about those things. So those are the books for this month. The next thing I want to talk about, the decks that I'm working with. I've been working with my I've been working with this deck, and I showed it off, I think, in my Indie Decks Part 2. So all of the artist information is there, but this is a recoloring of the Jean Noblet Tarot. It's really kind of cool and stylized. It kind of looks like it's got one of those cool filters on it, but so it's not traditional. The Noblet is very traditional. This recoloring is not really traditional. But I've been using this quite a bit, and I like it. So all the information for the artist is in that video, which is a couple videos back. Again, don't mind my phone going off. And then the next couple of decks that I'm working with, this is a deck I've owned before and didn't like. And so I got rid of it. And then some bug bit me, and I decided I needed to buy it again. But I wanted to trim it this time. So that's the Druidcraft Tarot. I don't usually enjoy decks that are overly nature-based, I guess I would say. I don't know. I don't really consider myself Wiccan, so anything that's got like a Wiccan bent, I don't generally jive with. I don't think they're bad in any way. It's just not my style. But for some reason, I really wanted this. And I also decided that I wanted the Druid Animal Oracle to go with it. So I picked them up from Amazon. Literally got them from purchase to doorstep. It was like less than 24 hours. But so this is the original size of the cards. They're really big. And this is my trimmed version. I decided to keep the borders around it for now. I've seen how it looks chopped all the way, but this is definitely a much more manageable size. The cardstocks, you know, not wonderful. And the trim, honestly, this way kind of leaves a little bit of the back showing, but my answer to that is I kind of gave it a micro border on the back with a pen that kind of covered up the copyright, and it kind of gave it a micro border, so it evened things out. And the pen that I'm using for that is a Winsor & Newton metallic marker. These are pigment based though, so you do have to give your cards some time to dry. But it usually takes me a few days to get through these. I'm only that far through, and I've got this much left. So this deck is going to be something that I'm going to work with for a little while, for a few weeks, I think, doing some blended readings with those. And then the Animal Oracle is really cool. It's also very big. And I'm probably going to trim this too, but I don't think it's really going to. I'm really only going to trim it because I got a couple of the cards were damaged. But I don't think it's really going to make the size any better, but it's an Oracle deck, so I don't really care. These are both illustrated by Will Worthington. They're both also authored by Philip and Stephanie Carr-Gomm. So they work really well together. And again, animal decks, not hugely something I'm into. but I really wanted these two for some reason. So those are my decks for the month. Those are my books for the month, and that's my news for the month. As always, if you ever want to book a reading with me, you can. Just go to sacredhearttarot.com. And also check out that blog. And let me know if you guys like the weekly format and what I can change if I don't. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye.